we're back. Now for the WIP Parade. The WIP Parade is me showing you all of the things that I've stitched on that are currently works in progress. WIP, W-I-P. So some of these date back to 2017. I kind of have them in chronological order. I did not bring something to put them into. So let's just jump in and see how well this goes. You know what? I do have to get something else. I will be right back. Okay, I'm back. I got some bins to put the WIPs in as I move them from showing you to done showing you. And I needed a piece of cardboard because some of these are rather see-through. So let's try to go chronologically. And for that means showing you the Reindeer that I started in 2017. This one is Donder. All of the stitching is done. It's just beads. And this fabric is not the easiest to bead on. Again, this is 32 count Nocturne Belfast linen. I had one piece, I believe it was a yard, and that did get me enough to do all the reindeer plus the sleigh, plus I had about 10 or 12 by 12 piece left over that I did another design on. I don't think I have any left. So Donder, beading has started and fell to the side. And there's the finished picture. This one is Vixen. Also just needs to be beaded. This one is Comet. As you can tell, I was using a hoop. That's why I don't like using hoops. I like my tension really, really tight. And when I do that, I end up with stretch marks in the shape of a hoop. And this one is Cupid. This is the only one that I'm not 100% sure about. I don't know if I have the, yeah, here's the finished design. I'm just not sure about the Art Deco bird on the bottom. I might just go ahead and do it anyways, but other than that, it is finished. But yeah, there's this empty space. So as I was saying, there is this blank space here that I do think will need something. Whether or not it's going to be that bird, I'm not sure. And the last reindeer for the Christmas Eve Couriers that I need to finish is Dasher. And again, I am only at beads. That's all that's left to do. That's what that one will look like when it's finished. So that is all of the Christmas Eve Couriers. And no, sorry, that's not all of the Christmas Eve Couriers, because there's one still on the Q-snap, and this one was I forgot to include before pictures, so I'll put a little parade of before pictures for the Couriers after this. So this one was the one that was the furthest behind on all the stitching. This is Blitzen, and it will look like this when it's finished. And here's where we are. When I picked this up, I really just had his body. No head, no legs, no greenery, no antlers, no nothing. So he needs his tail, the rest of the greenery down here, and beads. Lots and lots of beads. And then this one will be done as well. So you see, I'm very close to having these finished. A week on each would do it. And, you know, as I'm saying it, I'm thinking maybe that should be a plan. Maybe. And then, of course, there's the piece that ties it all together. The sleigh. And here's where it's at. Lots of hanging threads, I know, but that's the way I am. If I can't count to it easily, I will park it and go on to the next color and then go back later, pick it up, and finish it. So this is the back half of the sleigh carrying all the presents. Right here. And now these will all be put aside for now while we get out the other whips. Okay, so the next projects I'm going to show you, I don't have anything pulled off of the Q-snap. Sorry, but I really should. I should take this one off the Q-snap anyways, so okay. Here it goes. I'm pulling all of the magnets off. This is Royal Tudor Mandala. by Chatelaine. I'm stitching it with the called for silks on 32 count 32 count Opalescent Lugana. Here's what it's supposed to look like. And where it was when you last saw it. Or sorry, no, we're not going to do the last. We're going to see where it was in the beginning of 2022. Okay, one more needle minder. Move that. And here's where it's at now. My goal, if I remember right, my goal was to have half of it completed. So two of the two sets of crowns and two sets of corners would be half. Plus, you know, these garden areas. So you know, these two gardens aren't complete. This is the third pond. So technically, I think I did make the halfway point. The center itself is completely done. There are no beads on this right now. But all the other specialty stitches and everything else on this is done so far to this point. This corner is complete. This corner is complete. That crown is complete. The only thing that is not complete is the over one Tudor rose. Any blank spots that you see now, like here and here, and all of these blank spots, those are all going to be filled in with beads. Lots and lots and lots of beads. So let's just fold this up nicely. And put it away for now. This is another one. I think I should be making goals while I'm doing this, right? I think that one, another quadrant, right? A fourth of the pattern. Okay. You know, especially if I want to make more, do more Chatelaines. I have two that are fully kitted, but I'm hesitant to start it until that one is finished. That's how I am with my big projects, it seems. But I'm stepping away from those boundaries that I've put on myself. You know, don't start another Mirabilia till you have a Mirabilia finished. I believe there are 4 Mirabilias in this WIP Parade. Yeah. So, speaking of Mirabilias, so Royal Tudor Mandala and this next one are the only two WIPs that I have left from 2018. That's a good, I don't know what do you call that? It's not a starting point, but good news. This is, this one I've worked on quite recently, and I've gotten, I believe I did reach my goal on this one as well. This is Dressmaker's Daughter by Mirabilia. This was started in 2018. The Australian floss tubers were doing the Royal Queens, not Royal Queens, Queens of the Seasons by Mirabilia in the season that they were in Australia. I didn't have all the queens at that time, and I decided to do this in the seasons according to the Australian temperature. Seasons in Australia, just because. What the heck? I'm not really, I think I'm not a seasonal stitcher. Here's where it was at the beginning of 2022. And here's where we are at now. And this is being stitched on 32 count Lavender Mist Belfast Linen by XJudeDesigns. I was in a Fabric of the Month club, and this was one of the pieces. So there's winter. Which is missing some down here. There's spring, which is complete except for a little bit of back stitching and then the beads. And this is the one I've most recently worked on because, you know, we're in winter here in Canada, so I stitched on summer. So it is, I most recently finished all of this background up here. I just have to do the back stitching around that and then finish the stand. There's a little bit of blossoms at the bottom, and then that quarter of the pattern will be finished, and then autumn needs to be finished from the middle up, and some work to do down in the bottom here. So all in all, I think I can definitely have this finished next year. This year, 2023, this will be finished. I do enjoy stitching on it because it is a lot of block colors. So even though it was, you know, a lot of stitches, I was, you know, able to do this background pretty mindlessly. I would stitch in the flowers and then just fill in the background, watching TV. So this will be a finish. The thing that I think will take the most time, of course, the beads. So many beads. So many beads. There's your bead list right there. Your Gita of Magic Pawn Crafts has been stitching on this as well, and she's been beading as she goes. I'm not doing that just because I'm working with a Q-snap, and you know how that is. Okay, this next project is the only project that I have brought with me into 2023 from 2019. This is Hatter, and it is a kit that my husband got for me from Gecko Rouge. And at first I was doing it from the paper that came with the kit, and then, you know, pattern keeper. I was able to get the digital version, the, what do they call it, the backup version from Gecko Rouge. And so now I'm using Pattern Keeper, and it's going so much faster. Here's what it will look like. Here's where it was in the beginning of 2022. Okay, so I rolled it up. This frame was giving me such a rough time. So here's where it's at now. And I did write down some stats for you from Pattern Keeper. This design is 165,600 stitches. I'm at 51,000, and that's 30.85%. The last couple days I've been working over here, filling it in this way, and I also been filling in up here, bringing it up. I feel like there's not as much confetti right now, but this pattern is there's a lot of confetti going to happen in the background. Let's just say that. So I expect that it will be a nightmare later on. And I hope, you know, I'm at 30.8%. I think 50% would be a bit optimistic. I can't get this to loosen. So I'm going to say 40%. I started it in 2019. It's been 3 years, 10% a year. Okay. That's, I guess that's reasonable. I'll have to mess with that later. That's on the 25 count easy grid or whatever pre-gridded fabric that Gecko Rouge offered at the time. That is Hatter from 2019. Now the other WIP, that was the only one from 2019. This is the only one left from 2020. It's also on a scroll frame. Let's see if I can unroll this one. This one is going to behave a little bit better. This is Beautitudes by My Big Toe. And I'm stitching this on 22 count Hardanger fabric. And here's where it was when you last saw it. Not when you last saw it. Here's the progress from January of 2022. And here's where we are today. I should show you what it looks like. So this is the pattern. It is the Blessed are they. Yeah. Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. And so on and so on. Beautitudes. My big toe design. It's charted for silks. I was not going to make that kind of investment at that time. And I think my goal was to have another set of page finishes. This is 6 pages. It's 2 across and 3 down. And I have the middle 2 pages done. And I went up, and I'm not that far from getting that goal. I mean, I say that, but you know, I didn't do it. So because I'm right there. Sorry for the glare. So I just have to do this really fancy Blessed are the poor in spirit and that border. I work on the border as much as I possibly can when I pick it up, because it is a repeating pattern, so it is something that I can sit there and watch a movie and do, which is what I did the last time I picked it up, which was not that long ago. I'm saying a lot. So I think for 2023, I think I'm gonna make it 5 out of 6 pages. Yeah, or equivalent. So finish this top 2 pages, and then, you know, scroll down and see. I'm not going to do it page by page because the page is high and I work my way across. So I guess it would be the 2 half pages on the bottom that I'm going to aim to have finished. Okay. And I am stitching this with Threadworks and Gentle Arts. Threadworks is 1024. I have quite a bit of it. It was a affordable alternative. And Cranberry by Gentle Arts. I think I'm going to need more. I bought 3 skeins. I may not have bought it. My son may have bought it on my wish list. I know he definitely bought me the Threadworks, and I 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 skeins. I don't know how many I originally had, but we're down to 6. Okay. So, where are we at now? Beautitudes was 2020, so now 2021. I had quite a few starts in 2021. I believe that's the year that I joined the magazine monthly challenge group on Facebook. So I'm going to blame a lot of this on them. This is definitely one that I started because of them. And it is from a magazine. It's a magazine I had for a very long time. And I've had this chart, you know, flagged for a very long time. And they gave me the excuse to start it. This is from the Just Cross Stitch, June 1999. I also just, you know, side note, I made the scissor fob, scissor holder and needle book for a friend in an exchange. This is the other project in it that I highlighted. Welcome by Teresa Wentzler. Yes, Teresa Wentzler, notoriously known for blends and hand-drawn charts. I don't think this one is hand-drawn. No, it's computer-generated. Here's where this was in the beginning of 2022. Now, let me see if I can unravel this madness. And show you where we are today. Yeah, I'll just take off these 3 pieces. And here's where we are now. Let's do this. Okay. Here's where we are now. So most recently I've been working on the border. Before that I was working in the main picture, working my way across. There are lots of parked threads because that's how I work. I get so far, and if I can't count any stitches nearby, I park it. So because this is from a magazine, I did do a photocopy for my working copy, and so I highlight my parked stitch, the last stitch, in yellow. That's how I keep track of where I've parked. Okay. So we'll put this back in here. And I try to make sure that whenever I put anything away, that I don't have anything touching the front, the printed side of a photocopy, because the toner will rub off on the fabric in some cases. So better to be safe than sorry. I just had a bad experience, and so that's why all the stitching is not touching toner. I just knocked my needle minder off. Anyways, all the bags that you're seeing right now are made by me when I have a chance. Okay. trying not to be long, but so that was welcome. Next is Lettres. Les Belles Lettres de GiGi. This is another project that was a gift from my husband. He just shops on my 1, 2, 3 wish list, so yes, he has good taste. There's going to be a lot of glare, so I'm trying to get out the cover page. I don't need the rest of it, but Les Belles Lettres de GiGi. Now, you can actually tell there, you can see some of the stitches, but they stitched it tone on tone, which when you look at the design, when I added it to my wish list, the center parts, because it's so faint, all it had was just 4 blurry circles, because it just couldn't make it out. I knew I wanted to stitch, I'm sorry for the noise. Okay. I knew I wanted to stitch this on pink, and I wanted to use black thread. And here's where it was when you saw it in January. And I will just undo 2 of these clips. Nothing is ironed, obviously. I just don't do that till I'm done and it's being put away. And let's take off the last one here. Well, the next to last. Here's where it is now. And it's really messing with the camera because it's a very, very bright pink. It's Pepto-Bismol pink. So I'm gonna hold it up. Here's, I don't know if I put it in the January picture, but here's where it is now. I did mess up in a couple of spots. So I, for instance, over here, I messed up on the girl, I think. So I came over here and I did the letter, and then I did this and that and went down from there. So there's a mistake somewhere here. Do you know where it is? I believe there's also a mistake somewhere over here somewhere, and I fudged it as well. So my goal for this to finish this row of pages, I think, is a good goal. That's my back. So that means that it would be done to here. I think that's pretty reasonable goal. Have it. That would make it 50%. we got to get moving along here, so let's see if I can. Nope, I can't do that. Again, a bag I made and pulling out. All my working copies and put them where they won't touch the fabric. Okay. We're only about halfway. We're not even halfway. Permanent of Copenhagen. This is a kit my son bought me. 1, 2, 3 wish list. This is Permanent of Copenhagen, sampler 1823. This is the kit. I'm using all the kit fabric, kit floss, everything. I started this February of 2021. His birthday was March 1st, so I wanted to have it started so that I could focus on it for March. I'm not going to undo this one. There's just way too much fabric to wrangle with. So here's where it was in the beginning of 2022. And here's where we are now. I've finished about a fifth of it. Let's see. So I have from the boat over here to here and up. Like that's about all that's finished. I have to finish that. Yeah. I'm leaving out the letters. All the letters are IA to B to S. And then 1823 in the middle, but I don't know. Okay, so here's a good example. Like, that is repeated here and here, here, like everywhere. So it looks like somebody spelt out Caleb in one spot, but then the rest of it is IA2, IA2. Yeah. But here, right on this side, right there. Or C, no, B, kale. Okay, so that one, this one, I started it with 2 strands over 2, but I found it too bulky, too thick, didn't like the way it looked, so I switched it to 1 strand over 2, 35 count linen that came with the kit. And my goal is to get all the way across on both sides, because I don't think I even got close to the other side. That one's not going to want to fit. Okay, so this next project is another Mirabilia, started in May. For, you know, Mirabilia May. And this is Cassiopeia. Oh look, Cassiopeia by Mirabilia. And here's where it was at the beginning of the year. And here it is now. This is being stitched on 32 count Dawn Belfast linen by Picture This Plus. I believe it's Dawn. Sorry, looking for my card here. Yep. Parking again, but it's still enjoyable. This is, you know, got lots of blocks of colors. Squeaky. No. So that's where that one's at. And this next one was also started May of 2021. Queen Mariposa. And here's where it was at the beginning of the year. And here it is now. So these did get some progress, but not a lot of progress. I think they got about the same amount of progress. My goals for these, I don't think I'm going to set any goals except just to make sure they get some progress. I'm not going to say, you know, 1,000 stitches or anything like that. They're nice to work on, but yeah, there's no set reason to have them finished. And Adia by Mirabilia also started May of 2021. Okay, let's see how much I can get done while the dogs are outside. Sorry about that. So this is Adia, the garden fairy. I don't know if I showed you a picture already. If I didn't, here's where it was at the beginning of the year. And here's where it is now. This is being stitched on, you know, I should have looked at it. I believe it's Valor. Phantom Valor. Now I have to look it up. Did I write it in here? I don't have it written in here. Nope, there it is. Huntress. See, I knew Valor sounded wrong. Huntress. Really messing with the colors on the camera. I'm stitching it with the called for DMC. I have all the beads and treasures, which there are quite a few. And here's where it is now. I believe like that is probably all that got done. Again, this is not one that's high on the have to have finished priority list. But I do want to get it done. It's a very, very blingy design. I think it's out of print, but I'm not 100% sure. There's treasures and beads for that. That was the last Mirabilia that I started in 2021 for that. The next design and the last one that I have left over from 2021 was a kit, also bought by my husband off of my wish list. Sorry for the zipper. This is, I call her Poppy Girl. This is Girl in a Poppy Field by Vervico. Yeah. And here's where it was in the beginning of the year. I started to stitch it on the kit fabric, but I didn't get very far and I realized I'm not really a Ada stitcher. I had some 32 count platinum linen in my stash, so I just decided to go ahead and swap it out and stitch her on this instead. And so here's where it's at now. And this is one that I do want to have finished this year. Most of the hard part is done. There is some pretty detailed backstitching to do, but that can be done later. The goal for this one, yeah, we'll say finish. What the heck? Okay, so now we're getting into the 2022 pile of WIPs. So these are projects that I started in 2022, and I'm still working on them. So there will not be a start picture. So that should make this part go a lot faster. This one I started at the beginning of 2022, about March, when the conflict between Ukraine and Russia started. This is fabric I dyed myself. This pattern I got off a stash unload, and it is Sunflower Summer by Shepherd's Bush. Their pictures are not always the greatest. And so here's how far I got. This is using a conversion because their chart is designed for silks, which I didn't have. So I picked overdyes from my stash that I thought were appropriate. And I did change the color of her dress to be, actually it is blue. Never mind, I didn't change it. I just picked it blue. And that's as far as I got. And really, this one is, you know, one of those ones where if I took a week to focus on it, it could be finished. The next start that I have, this one I started for Maynia. This was not, you know, Maynia itself, Stitch Maynia itself had disbanded taken itself off of Facebook. They've, you know, gone on with their lives, so that's perfectly fine. And this is Rose Quaker by, I'm gonna butcher the name, maybe I shouldn't say it. Stickdeen van der Reinberg. Here's a bad copy of what it's supposed to look like. This is black and white. Maybe I'll find a color picture and put it here. Princess had to be in her chair. So I have decided to stitch this with not the called for DMC, not on the called for fabric. This is Nessie, 32 count Nessie by Picture This Plus, and I am stitching it with random overdyed cottons. Mostly I had bought packets of Victoria Motto sampler threads because I thought I would do it in those. But I don't have all of the colors that I need, so I'm pulling in other colors. And for instance, this is Leo and Roxy. Peach it. And here's where it is. And I believe there's a mistake. And that's when I put it aside, and that's a bad thing because now I'm not sure where the mistake is. I know I'll find it when I pick it up because I left it. It was so obvious when I put it down. Any goals? Maybe. Maybe a page. I have tried to import this into Pattern Keeper because I do have the PDF, but because I think because they put the like watermark, digital watermark on it to be only used by me, Pattern Keeper doesn't like it. I'm just using the paper copy. It's fine. It's not a really complicated, heavy confetti nightmare like Heaven and Earth or the Gecko Rouge. So, you know, it's one color in a Quaker pattern. That's not necessary to use Pattern Keeper for that. Simplicity. This is a design I picked up off of Amazon, and this is one of the few bags I did not make myself. This was a gift from Kim. Thank you. And we are both stitching Vintage Simplicity by Dimensions. And I started it on the Ada that came with the kit and found, did I even start it? You know what? I did not start it on the Ada. I just knew I'm not an Ada stitcher. So I swapped it out for some 28 count even weave. I want to say this is Monaco, because I did buy myself a lot of Monaco way back when, and this piece was the right size. And here's where I am now. I started in the center, and I do plan on taking this and stitching on it tomorrow, because I intend to stitch on it the second Sunday of the month. One Sunday of the month. Hasn't always happened. So that's that one. And then the Just Nan scissors, I have it on my WIP list for January. This is what I'm going by. Here's all my WIPs. I mark, you know, when I start a new one, I just write it in at the bottom. As I finish it, the next month, it just doesn't get written in. And I wrote the years next to the list because it just makes it easier that way to keep track of what was stitched when, approximately. So yeah, Just Nan, the winter needle roll, scissor roll. I showed it in my finish parade, so that is on the list here. The next one, nowhere near finish. Do have some stats for you for this one. Started it in August, and or was it July? It might have been the end of July. Yes, it was the end of July, the very end. There's July, there's Inner Depths, and there's when I worked on it. And this is what it will look like when it's finished. This artwork by Chris Ortega, charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. I am currently at 4.3%. I am stitching this generally in the mornings before I go to work and on the weekends. And this is the only one on a big stand like this. And here's where we're at. So I was parking a lot and then decided I just don't like the look of all of the threads. So I started to just take the threads and finish them off. This frame is difficult to be going back and forth from front to back, so that's why I am using the waist knot method instead of flipping it over to tie it off. Sorry, I see something from the back here. Yeah. So these ones are parked because they are beyond my reasonable counting range. I will park it up there for now. Plan for this. I'm at 3% now. Or sorry, 4% now. If I get 10% a year done, I'll have it done in 10 years. I I think that's at least a good minimum goal. So next year, let's see if I'll be at 14%. So that was stitching shelf. I started that in July after I got back from my trip to see my dad, because Beloved was finished, so I was able to put in another big project. I'm just gonna mark down my goal. Intention. I intend to get 10% finished. So the next project that I started, because I'm crazy, is not on that page. Actually, it's not that one. Yeah, it is. I don't know what I'm thinking. Okay. So I started Inner Depths, and then I went ahead and started. Come on. Stitching Shelf, Max Color. Because Carolyn said I should start it. So Carolyn Zuck and Kim from Stitch and Stuff and I started this together on World Cross Stitch Day, August 12th. And we did a Zoom meeting and had a bunch of other people start it with us. There's a Facebook group. It's not a very active Facebook group. That's okay. I don't know how, well, okay, I know how far they are. I know I'm a lot farther than they are. Kim and Carolyn, there's some people on the Facebook group who are just zipping along. I really do need to post some progress pictures on there. I should do that very soon. I just feel like all my threads are hiding what I've stitched, which is one of the reasons why I'm trying to just work in all the stitches. So here's my best clearance for a stitching shelf. I started mine at the top in the center and I'm just working my way through this. I came this way, I came that way, I went that way, wherever I feel like going. It would be nice to get a vignette or a page or a book or something finished. Right now there's not any of those. The book is close to being finished. There's a dog sitting at the bottom, no, a rabbit sitting at the bottom here. There's a butterfly, and in here there's a woman sitting there, and there's a window up here, you know. So I'm trying to go from where I started in the middle and work my way out as far as I can. I haven't had to move the Q-snap yet, but I'm tempted to, just because, to work on something new. You know, maybe go all the way this way, or go all the way that way across the top, or come down here and then go all the way across. I don't know, but this is the spring scene is at the top, then it goes to summer, fall, and winter at the bottom. So I'm working in spring in the winter. So there's just no rhyme or reason to it. That 10% goal, what the heck. Okay. 2 more starts for 2022, and then that's it. I started this in October. I thought it would be a pretty quick stitch, but it turned out to not be as quick. Partly because I did not have the threads, so I was, you know, oh, I can't do that stitch. I gotta move over here. I can't do that. So it is what it is. This is being stitched on I don't know, 28 count, maybe 32 count. I think it's 32 count. Does Cashel come in 32? Sometimes I keep the sticker. Well, I'm going to say it's a mystery fabric, white, and mostly the called for DMC. And here's where it is. Did I show you the picture? That's what it's going to look like. And that's where it's at. I had it in a, you know, generic Amazon zip bag, but when I was rummaging through my craft room, I found this project bag that was empty, and I thought, you know what, this design is very much a Canadian design. It could be British as well. The Remembrance Day, poppy, all that stuff. But this is my Oh Canada bag. So I thought, well, I'll throw it in here. This bag wasn't being used for anything, so there we go. I do have one of the threads on the way for that so that I can get that one finished. Yeah. And the final start for 2022, another magazine start. This was from the premiere issue of Treasures in Needlework, which I don't know, I honestly don't know how many issues they actually ended up putting out. This is what the cover looks like. And this design is gorgeous. This is Pageant Kings. Ever since I had found this magazine, I knew that I wanted to stitch it. This is designed by Sandy Orton, and I don't know if you can find it anywhere else. There's a lot of blends, a lot of metallics, a lot of some beads, mostly in the border, I believe, just for, you know, that little extra oomph. And here's where it's at. I'm gonna move this to this side, just because there's a little bit that's under there. And so here's where we're at. So I did work a little bit on it recently, gave him some facial hair. Those faces are very detailed. I'm really glad actually that they put in this picture of the faces. That will really help. I haven't done the skin yet, and I even contemplated doing the skin over one. I'm just not sure because they have mustaches. Well, he doesn't. But would that work out okay? So I don't have all the colors. I did place an order. You know, speaking of Amazon bags, right? Yeah, I placed an order for the rest of the threads. DMC, Krynic. I think that's all that was missing. There's no specialty threads like water lilies or any of that. It is all DMC and Krynic. But the chart is, it's a very large chart, but they only put it on 4 pages. It's 225 high by 174. You know, that's quite large. So I took a picture with my tablet of the pattern, and I use that and I enlarge it to get the detail. But I need the magazine nearby because there are some details on it where there's like a quarter stitch where you can't, it's fuzzy on the enlargement. So you gotta refer back to the magazine for the actual color. Which is why there's a personalization in it right now, because I didn't realize this color was supposed to be red. No, it was supposed to be blue, whatever. Off of the, in the banner here, the trim, the red, no, the metallic blue, I think, was supposed to go a quarter stitch out, but it didn't. Doesn't make that much difference. It's just a pattern. It's not like it's a facial feature or anything like that. So, that is the entire content of my works in progress. So now I have to edit this and put it up. 2023 plans. I know this video is already going to be long, so I'm not going to show those in this video. I think maybe in the next couple days I'll be able to do another video. I'll do a regular floss tube and 2023 plans. So if you're going to watch that, you might see a little more progress on one or two of these, but yeah, 2023 plans will be included in that. Except for, you know, the intentions that I have with these right now. Any new starts, any of my haul, all of that stuff, next video. So, I hope you enjoyed this. I bet you took a lot of breaks. I know I did. So, Yeah, until next time, happy stitching. Bye.